You're listening to the Reds Podcast.
This is episode number 89. I had an interesting visitor to my door. She brought along some great marketing lessons, and I'm going to be sharing those with you. That's coming up on this episode of Red Podcast.
This is the Red Podcast. Real entrepreneur development. Make more money, work less, and live a life of freedom. No BS advice that really works. Here's your hosts, David Hooper and Laurel Staples.
David here. Laurel is out of the studio today working on another project, so it's just me and you. This is the Red Podcast. Red stands for Real Entrepreneur Development. We help you build an audience, sell more products, and make more money. We are for influencers. If you are an author, a blogger, anybody with a message, this podcast is for you. You're in the right place. We help you to get clear on your message, spread it, and make money with it. Laurel and I live in an urban neighborhood. It's got a very dense population, and because of this, we get a lot of solicitations. People will come up to our door, ring the bell, knock on it. They're usually salesmen or kids trying to raise money, and it goes a little something like this.
Saw her coming.
Who is it?
She just put a flyer on our door.
Wow.
It was good timing, though.
That was perfect timing.
Go to your bed. Go to your bed. It's okay. She's gone.
So what do you do when you get several visits like this per week? On one hand, as a marketing guy, I'm always interested in seeing how things are sold, and I love to hear new pitches, even if they're for something that I'm not interested in. But on the other hand, I've got a lot of work to do. Every time somebody rings the doorbell or knocks, the dog goes crazy. It's just like you heard. As a matter of fact, if I knock on a table, something like that, he goes absolutely nuts. And if somebody's there, even if it's just to hang a flyer on a doorknob, I'm going to know about it. So a few months ago, my doorbell rang, and I was once again faced with the choice of, should I answer this door, hear the pitch, maybe learn something, or completely ignore it and get my work done? This time I chose to answer the door. It was a 30-something woman from the Jehovah's Witnesses, a very classic door-to-door salesman, and she was there with a kid. He appeared to be about 8 years old. She introduced herself, very friendly. She handed me a copy of the Watchtower magazine. Now, as I was looking at the door, I could see that these guys, I guess a van full of Jehovah's Witnesses, were canvassing the neighborhood. There were probably 8 or 10 of them. She looked like she was very dedicated to me. And almost immediately, I told her I wasn't interested in converting, but I would take a look at the magazine. She told me she's not interested in converting me. She just wanted to talk to me about the Bible, and then she asked if she could drop by later. Again, very, very friendly. I said, sure, you can do that if you want to. Then she left. Now, I haven't heard from her since, and that's actually too bad. I'm maybe the one guy who wants a Jehovah's Witness to come and talk to him, because I've got some questions for her. Specifically, what I wanted to know about was who she was and what was it that allows her to do what she does. What I mean by that is I'd like to get into her mind. I'd like to find out what it is that makes her tick. This woman is going up to doors in the middle of the day. I don't know if people are home. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. So there's a lot of work to get somebody who's there, perhaps. And then if somebody is there, there's a lot of work to get them to say, yes, come on in my house. Let's talk about the Bible. Since she hasn't come back, until she does, I've got a few observations I think are correct. I'm going to share them with you. And if you've got any opinions on this, as always, I'm available via redpodcast.com. When you go there, you can email me, you can Twitter me, which is the best way to get me. At David Hooper on Twitter is my Twitter username. So here are the observations that I had about this woman. Observation number 1, the mission trumps everything. In general, people hate Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I don't think it's necessarily a religious issue, although if you've got a belief system, sometimes it's difficult to listen to somebody with a different belief system. I think it has more to do with the fact these people knock on doors and they're interrupting you, just like she was interrupting me. I was going about my business. There's a knock at the door. You've got to deal with it. Sometimes that doesn't go over very well. Jehovah's Witnesses, they are the butt of jokes, and there are hundreds of pages actually online on the subject of how to get rid of Jehovah's Witnesses. But still they keep coming. They face all that rejection. There was hot weather. Why is that? It's the mission. Jehovah's Witnesses have a belief system that somehow allows them to put up with all of the negativity and still move forward. As a matter of fact, that rejection seems to amp them up even more. What can we all learn from this? When you put getting your message out to people above your own ego and above your own fear of failure, you can do amazing things. Let me tell you a story about Team Hoyt. Team Hoyt is a father and son. Dick Hoyt, that's the father. Rick Hoyt is his son, and they've competed together in various athletic endeavors, including marathons and Ironman triathlons. Not a big deal, right? A lot of people do that. But here's the difference between these two. Rick, the son, has cerebral palsy, and during competition, Dick, the father, pulls him in a special boat as they swim. He carries him in a special seat in front of his bicycle, or he pushes him in a special wheelchair as they run. This partnership began in 1977 when Rick, the son, asked his father if they could run a race together to benefit a lacrosse player at his school who had recently become paralyzed. He wanted to prove that life went on regardless of your disability. But Dick Hoyt wasn't a runner. He was also 36 years old, which made competing in this way a huge stretch for him. But after their first race, Rick told his father, he said, "Dad, when I'm running, it feels like I'm not handicapped." And that's when Dick began training, running every day with a bag of cement in the wheelchair he was pushing because Rick was at school and unable to train with him. Today, 37 years later, the Hoyts have competed together in over 1,100 endurance events, including 72 marathons and 6 Ironman triathlons. They've run the Boston Marathon 32 times. Also adding to their list of achievements, in 1992, Dick and Rick biked and ran across the entire United States, completing 3,735 miles in just 45 days. A powerful reason why can power you to do amazing things. I want you to think about that for a minute. Rick was 36 years old when he started training in 1977. Here we are 37 years later. He's 73 years old, still going strong. It's a great example that a powerful reason why can power you to do amazing things. Let's get back to the Jehovah's Witness story. Observation number 2, volume fixes marketing problems. The Watchtower, it's the most widely circulated magazine in the world, with almost 46 million copies printed each month. Now, I don't know what the conversion rate the average Jehovah's Witness gets from knocking on doors, soliciting people like this woman was doing to me, but I do know when you're reaching as many people as 46 million a month, as many people as the Jehovah's Witnesses do, somebody is going to buy. So let's say you've got a blog, 5,000 people come to it every day. You can make really good money even if you're not that great at marketing. As a matter of fact, I know a guy, he's got a blog design that hasn't been updated for 10 years. He absolutely sucks at marketing, but he's a couple of affiliate links on the top pages, the ones that are getting the most visitors. And his income, it's about $30,000 per month. You don't have to be the best at sales and marketing to make a lot of money. You just have to reach enough people. With that said, imagine what you could do with 5,000 daily visitors to your blog if you really were good at marketing. Here's a final observation about the Jehovah's Witness who came to my door. She had brass balls. Now imagine if you had the brass balls of a Jehovah's Witness. You'd be willing to try anything to grow your business, right? And some of those things would work. Looking to develop brass balls? Well, try rejection therapy. It's not actually therapy, it's a game. It's created by Jason Cornerly, and the object is to be rejected by another person or group. Not just because you're into pain, it's because you're desensitizing yourself to pain. There's an incredible blog. It's called fearbuster.com. This guy, 100 days of rejection therapy, amazing stories of what happens when you ask. Some of them are funny. He would videotape all these asks that he was doing. Some of them were like asking a girl out, asking somebody to dinner, but some of them were quite amazing. As a matter of fact, the most recent video that he's got on his blog right now, he's going around with a crew of other people as what he calls a rejection therapist, helping them to get more comfortable with rejection. Some of the stuff that people said yes to, like flying a helicopter, for example, you wouldn't expect. Really super cool thing, and you never know until you ask. Let me tell you a little bit more about rejection therapy. The purpose of playing the game is to overcome the fear of rejection through controlled and forced exposure to things where you're likely to get rejected. The thought is, by doing this, as I mentioned, you get more comfortable, more desensitized to rejection. Here's some example tasks. The next time you fly, ask if you can use the plane's intercom section. Maybe you want to say, hello, everybody, welcome to the flight. Maybe you're going to ask if you can give the safety announcement. I don't know if that's legal or not. I don't know if there has to be a special certified person to do that, but that's the point of this. You're trying to do uncomfortable things where you're likely to get rejected. Who knows, though? Maybe you'll get to do it. It's a cool experience that you can tell your friends about, blog about, podcast about. Here's another task. Ask to go behind the counter at Subway so you can make your own sandwich. Ask for something for free. Maybe ask for a discount. The worst somebody's going to say is no, and in that case, you win the rejection therapy game, because there's only one official rule in rejection therapy. You must be rejected by another person at least once every day. And here's what counts as a rejection. A rejection counts only if you're out of your comfort zone. In other words, you can't do a task when nothing is on the line. For example, if Laurel were here, I can't ask her something that I know I'm going to get rejected for because I know her, we've got a great relationship, we're married, right? Who are you more comfortable with than your wife? Nothing's on the line for me. However, a complete stranger, well, that amps it up a little bit. Maybe you, somebody listening to Red Podcast, because I want you to continue listening, that's going to raise the stakes even more. So something has to be on the line. Number 2, a rejection counts only if your request is denied. Like I said about the airline announcement, it's not considered rejection if you don't get turned down. So somebody might say yes, and if they say yes to your request, you've got to approach somebody else. At the time of the rejection, the player, not the person the player is interacting with, not the person you're asking something of, should be in a position of vulnerability. The whole point is for you to get comfortable with vulnerability. Think about the Jehovah's Witness. She's knocking on my door. I could be mean to her. I could let the dog bite her, let the dog bark at her. She's vulnerable. It takes a lot of guts to do that, and that's what I'm trying to increase in you, because this is going to directly help your business. The player can attempt any kind of social rejection or try a suggestion from one of the rejection therapy cards. Those are available at rejectiontherapy.com. The game can be played for any length of time. Fearbusters, 100 days is what he did this for, and he's still doing it, although most take a 30-day challenge. I'm thinking about it myself. If you have thoughts about that, visit us at redpodcast.com or hit me online at Twitter at David Hooper. Let me know what you think about rejection therapy. Let me give you a final thought before I close this out. Say what you will about the Jehovah's Witnesses, but they are absolutely a marketing machine. If you love them or you hate them, they are completely kicking ass with a huge street team of salespeople who aren't afraid to knock on doors, get them slammed in their faces, or much worse. There's so much that we can learn from Jehovah's Witnesses, and I hope that you'll think about that. I hope you'll maybe even invite these guys in, talk to them, find out more about them. Not just Jehovah's Witnesses. I've got no dog in that fight. I'm not trying to secretly convert you or anything. Connect with people that are out doing those things you find scary. Maybe they're putting vlogs. Maybe it's people like me that are doing podcasts. Maybe it's people that are doing books. Let me tell you about the first book I had. Scary, 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 because with Amazon reviews, anybody can put up a review. Some of the reviews are going to be good. If you're reaching enough people, some of them are going to be bad. And back when I did my first book, you didn't even have to register to Amazon. You didn't have to be a real customer. People could put an anonymous review. It would say a reader. That was the reviewer's name. And somebody could just completely slam you. You could do anonymous reviews. It was really, really tough in the Wild West. That's why they've put a lot of enforcements as far as making you have a registered account before you can leave reviews to keep the reviews honest, so people aren't necessarily helping themselves and their own books out. Back to the topic, though, rejection, overcoming rejection, getting yourself out there. Find the people that are doing what you admire and talk to them. Ask them what it is that lets them do that. Get into their heads. See if you can bring a little bit of that back into what you do, and just try it. The whole point of rejection therapy is to be rejected, so it's making it a game, and you can think of how ridiculous some of the requests get because of that. Again, I'm looking at doing this. If you're interested in participating with me, we could start up at the first of the year. Let me know. redpodcast.com is how to get in touch with us. You can get me online at Twitter, at David Hooper is my name. Thank you so much for listening. We've had a great launching period. We've got some great stuff coming up in the new year, and I'm excited to share that with you. I'll be doing that soon when Laurel returns to the studio. If you've got questions, you've got comments, you want to check out past episodes, redpodcast.com is where to get them. While you're on the internet, I would appreciate if you go to iTunes, you leave us a review, leave us a rating. That will help us to come up more frequently in the iTunes search engine and help us to build the real entrepreneur development community. Also, tell a friend. Be like a Jehovah's Witness. Knock on the door. Tell your friend, hey, Red Podcast, redpodcast.com, worth listening to, help you make more money. Maybe you'll get rejected. Start your rejection therapy early. I'll see you on the next episode.
You've been listening to Red Podcast, Real Entrepreneur Development. Subscribe today using iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.